Americans. What's something you didn't realize was weird until you talked to non-Americans?
Paper towels. A friend of a friend is French and they were appalled by paper towels. I asked my friend, well, what do they use? Just regular kitchen towels, bar towels, and they wash them. I'm so used to paper products in the kitchen and to clean up spills. I never thought not to use paper towels. Trying to transition away. I still keep them for some things, but I try not to make them my first reach. At the very least, it'll save me some money. Paper towels are crazy expensive. Wages here in the UK is a huge issue. The average wage, even for high-level jobs, is abysmally low, and it's ridiculous. It's one of the reasons why the healthcare sector has a huge shortage of nurses and doctors, as they just train up and go and move to Australia, as they can get much better pay for the exact same job. It's become a bit of a joke for how common it is for healthcare workers to immediately bugger off to Australia. Here in the UK, we literally don't have to do anything. The only people who have to do anything to do with taxes is self-employed people or business owners. Tax is taken off your pay every month and shown on your pay slip. If you accidentally pay too much tax, they inform you and automatically refund it. If for whatever reason you need to pay more, they send you a letter to inform you. There's nothing else you need to do, it's all automated and done through your employer. Free refills on sodas and some other drinks at restaurants. Also, ice in drinks at restaurants. Why do some other countries not put ice in their drinks? Are ice makers hard to come by? Do people not like things floating in their drinks, even if they're just bits of frozen water? Or are they concerned the ice is cheating them out of more of their drink? I don't understand. Paying crazy amounts to see a doctor. When is a new patient studying abroad in Japan at a clinic that didn't take the health insurance I have, gave me an x-ray, meds, bandages, everything. I was good to go, spoke to a doctor, and was done in an hour. I got charged extra fees as a new patient, and I was panicking, and they were like, it costed me $60 overall. Also, not being able to leave doors open at schools due to school shooters, it's an interesting conversation to be like, seeing that during the summer when we weren't allowed to leave doors open for the heat during the summer due to threats. I've been to LA and NYC and SF a few times. I'm Australian, and I loved it. Louisiana and San Francisco especially. It was the lifestyle and people for me. California is such a beautiful state. However, all the beauty California has would never ever convince me to move to the United States, even before Trump's second shitshow term. Australia has its problems, but to be able to go to the hospital for an emergency and know my Medicare will foot the bill is always why I'll call Australia my home. Also, the pharmaceutical ads are crazy. So many erectile dysfunction ads. My husband and I were so bewildered by it. Does America have an erection problem? Are your pensis okay? What's going on, gang? We measure distance and time. I didn't even realize this until I worked with foreign colleagues who would ask, how far away is X? And an American would respond, about 30 minutes. To a non-American, that's like asking, how far away is X? And someone responding, purple. While Americans will speak of distance in miles or blocks in a city, mostly we automatically revert to the travel time that it takes to get there. Leaning apparently. Need to stand in one location for a long time? Why not lean against a wall to make the wait easier? Apparently, all of the EU thinks you should be standing at attention at all times, which they then find it strange that we require cashiers to stand. I also hate this. So while working, I get to sit, but while waiting for my friends to show up, I better not lean against that brick wall. I remember I was in America in my early 20s, and an ad I saw for medication for restless leg syndrome had a warning in its list of side effects that it might cause slight blindness. I still wonder how the fuck they would classify that. You go blind, but only between 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on 2 random days a week? Every second Thursday? Also, I know RLS sucks. My aunt has it and it makes her miserable, but I don't think I'd be risking losing my vision for it. Just out of interest, do you get a payment summary, aka a group certificate, from your employer at tax time? In Australia, employers produce this document detailing annual earnings and tax withheld throughout the year. And for most people, a tax return is a fairly simple online process. It's more complicated if you have shares or other investments, high deductions, own a business, or have lots of dependents, but it's not too bad. From what I hear, an American tax return is much more complicated. Having set start and end times for parties. Like, you're invited to celebrate Little Steve from 5 p.m. on X day. In most Latin countries, it's come celebrate from 3 to whenever everyone leaves, which could be 3 a.m., even for a kid's party. Add to that only inviting one child to a kid's party. In most Latin countries, if you invite one child, you can assume their whole family will assist. Like most parents will not just drop off their kid and leave. They'll stay for the party, along with any siblings the kid may have. Drug testing. I've worked various jobs since 13 years old and never even heard about the concept, except for convicted felons coming back from detention leave or something like that. Then I work in US and my boss is like, well, obviously I'm gonna have to check your piss before you can sort parcels. I learned that other countries don't worship their politicians as much. This might be changing, unfortunately. Like, we should be demanding the most from our people in power. They work for us and derive their legitimacy from us. But we Americans always make concessions for our powerful as long as they are on the right side, i.e. Democrat or Republican. It might have to do with the prevalence of multi-party politics in other countries. Ick. How secure our schools are. One entrance for everyone entering. Doors you have to get buzzed through to get in, etc. I sub in Australia now, and it's still weird just walking through the school campus. Majority of schools are spread out buildings with doors to classrooms outside. As a stranger before I sign in at the office. The moment I saw my Australian coworkers look on in horror as I explained the active shooter drills we practiced in school, I realized that safety from guns was something they took for granted. It also made me realize how much safer I felt since I moved to Australia too. They need to make it illegal, like other countries. I've never heard of anyone going to the doctor like, hey, how come you don't give me X for my condition? If your doctor thinks you need it, they'll suggest it, and good for you if you saw an ad for it. I got a prescription for Symbicort and was like, oh, I've heard of that, LOL. I think the only people asking their doctor for whatever are hypochondriacs. The salary, pay difference between my job in the States and in Europe. There can be debates about vacation time, benefits, taxes, etc. But it feels quite odd to know your UK colleague is making 1/3 of your salary to do the same job. My experience tends to be, Americans expect the waitstaff to make sure the guest doesn't need anything and provide what they do need, within reason, whether that be a small amount of company or a refill. Europeans expect the guest to inform the waitstaff when they need something and don't expect the waitstaff to do anything beyond the literal words in their job description. Another way I see it on customer service in general, Americans see them guest, customer as the party with power, as they are the ones paying for it. If we're talking about men, Europeans either wear absurdly fancy footwear, dress shoes, or simple sneakers, Adidas brand, but often Nike as well. They prefer what I consider small silhouette clothing, specifically footwear. Americans wear the same branded sneakers, tending towards Nike brand, and younger Americans are prone to wearing high-top shoes, basketball sneakers, skate shoes, and boots, often Timberland brand. Americans tend to prefer looser-fitting clothing and larger-looking shoes. Americans tend to be more athletic, but also have higher rates of obesity. Europeans tend not to be outright fat, but often have poor body mass composition, skinny fat. As a consequence, their clothes tend to be a lot tighter. As someone pretty into fitness, this makes it difficult to buy European-cut clothing. Americans smoke and drink a lot less and are a lot less likely to speak more than one language. Grew up in Northern California. In high school, me and a group of 20 students participated in an exchange program with the same number of German students. When the German students were here, we were walking through Old Town Sacramento with them, and I causally greeted people we passed in the usual fashion. Morning. How's it going? How are you? One of the students asked me how I knew everyone in the city so well. I had never met them before in my life and told them I was just being polite and greeting them. Most of the students seemed really shocked and uncomfortable. It was a bizarre concept for them to casually greet complete strangers. I tried to get a number of them to try it, and a large. My wife has a good test. She is unlucky with cars, especially tires. Ireland is the only European country where people bothered to ask if she needed help when she was waiting on the side of the road, and she has had rental car issues in probably 9 or 10 countries. In the US, we'll call roadside assistance in near a city. But out where cell coverage is thin, at best, no need to. People will drop whatever they're doing to lend a hand. At our best, America is like that. At its best, Europe will give privacy and space in public, a very different kind of consideration. Thank you for watching. Check out other videos.